What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Anti-Gravity Group podcast. My name is Braden Carlson.
My name is Taylor.
My name is Shane, or as you might know me, Postart.
And my name's Matt.
And we are live once again for a bonus episode of the Anti-Gravity Group podcast.
Woo! Doing it live.
Yeah.
I was just confused. I had the live open in the background, and I just started getting blasted with advertisement music. And I was like, what's happening? What's happening? I figured it out now. It's fine. What's up, everybody? We are doing a lightning round episode. We've received a bunch of topic ideas for stuff that it's just too short-winded to do a full episode on. So we thought it would be fun if we scrunched them all into one, and we just hit on as many of these topics as we can. So if you're watching this live, pop your lightning round topics into the live chat as well, because I feel like even though we have a lot, somehow we're going to run out. So are you guys ready? Is there anything you guys immediately come to mind? Buys. Shut up, Shane.
From Shorzy.
See,
Well,
we
I have a
bully
question for Matt.
other people too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love bullying Postart.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
I have a question for Matt.
Okay.
Have you cleaned your motor cases from
so
Cloudburst?
I've removed the liners, so I just need to actually soak them. That works.
Okay, well, that's a great
We're getting
segue.
better.
Yeah.
We're getting better.
Getting there.
Because that was one of the topics, actually, was cleaning
Oh.
motor cases, which somebody suggested as a full-length episode, but I was like, I don't really think there's enough meat and potatoes there. to get
I
through
do
it.
like
we
the idea
can't
of
talk
us-
about that for an hour.
Yeah.
I love the idea of us talking about cleaning motor cases for an hour. Could definitely do it, but it would be so drawn out and
Yeah.
unnecessarily
It'd be
nitpicky about just talking about nut stuff nobody cares about.
How many
Nothing
paper
could-
towels do you guys go through when you clean a 75 38 40?
Why would you
Paper
use paper
towels.
towels? No,
This guy.
use
You
baby
kidding me?
For
wipes.
drying, of course.
Unscented baby wipes. Yeah, for sure.
Uh, Nothing could be worse than the thermite episode, but we'll go ahead and tackle this a little bit. The way that I've refined my motor cleaning process has gotten quite stupid, but it is the way that I like it. Now I have a just massive 20 liter. Is that what it is, Shane? Or 30
I think
liter?
so. 18
A
maybe.
huge heated what is it called? It just was on my head.
Ultrasonic cleaner.
Ultrasonic cleaner, yeah. Any motor case that fits in there goes straight in the ultrasonic cleaner with a little Dawn dish soap. Don't use anything acidic; it'll take the anodizing off. We learned that lesson the hard way. I talked about, I think,
or
in
too
the last,
basic.
yeah, one of the podcasts episodes, or it might have been live, where I talked about how I ruined a 2940-120, not even using that. But bigger cases, this is, I know, another stupid process, but Chris Short used to sell these 4-foot long, 4-inch diameter soft nylon brushes. I cut the handle off of it, chuck it up in a drill, get the sink. The sink's a bad idea if you don't want to clean your kitchen for an hour afterwards. I used to have a garage sink, but now I just get one of those big plastic tubs and fill it up with soapy water. Run the drill brush through each side of the case for a couple times, and then this is where it gets dumb. Put a nice towel on the handle of my hydraulic floor jack and then slide the case over that, pull it back out the other way, and bam, we're set. Who wants to go next? People are like, this guy's insane.
I'm still on the Zep Citrus, but only for immediate cleaning, no soaking for sure.
Yeah,
And
get it
then
off of there quick.
gotta have your big stick. So paper towels and Zep, and it really cleans it up pretty quick usually. And then finish it off with silicone spray to seal her up, and slide that around with a paper towel.
Yeah, I forgot to mention
and make
that.
it all slippery. Really love that.
You said you do the whole inside of the case with silicone spray.
Yeah,
Why?
Oh.
because it seals it so it doesn't oxidize.
Does it actually though, or did you imagine that?
Seems like it. I don't know. I just copied it from Crazy Jim, but it seems like the cases clean up easier. And
I definitely use silicone spray
because sometimes
on
what
the
will happen
threads.
if you clean the case, there'll still be some residue, or not. There's still particles there, I guess. Like you can't get. Maybe you can an ultrasonic cleaner, but
Yeah, trust. It gets in there ultrasonic.
if you don't use, I don't use the case for a year or something. I look and there's like some crystals in there. So
maybe you should fly more rockets. I can't even say.
I just have so many motor
Oh,
cases. You
dang.
can't fly them all every day.
Okay, Postart go, and then we'll skip Matt since we know he doesn't clean his motor cases.
Yeah, what's Matt's process? He just doesn't.
No, I've got some fun processes that I like to utilize that are probably special to me.
Okay, well, let's hit Postart real quick.
Yeah.
I've got pretty much the same method as Braden, seeing as the
We do it
ultrasonic
together?
cleaner is in our house. And
Yeah.
But can't
Must
you
be
not
nice.
fit all of the cases in there, like the big
It'll
ones?
fit up to a 75-38-40
yeah,
if you don't lose it.
but those do look best in the ground.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we did like 15 cases at once in there one time. It was awesome.
Yeah, a lot of 54s and 38s can fit.
Were they dirty, or are you just trying to see how many would fit?
We were trying to see how many would fit. Plus, they're all
Yeah.
dirty compared to.
It was like
I'm
the
like,
day
I know
after
you
we
didn't
got
fly
it.
15 motors in one launch.
Dude, I wish I had it when I flew the Honest John. Just toss all the 38s in there, let them
Dude.
cook.
That's what we needed
Yeah.
when we flew the Punisher on the 2 and 3 grains.
Dude,
That would have been so
Yeah.
nice.
I could bring the Flashfish battery and we could ultrasonic clean at the field.
Dude, that would
Wow.
be so
Charge people
hard.
to use it.
that
would be
cool.
crazy.
I bet people would pay for that.
Yeah, just be like,
Whoa.
toss $1 into the jar, ultrasonic clean your cases. We'd have to flush
Yeah.
the water out a lot if everybody's using it.
Yeah.
It would get nasty real quick. Okay, Matt, go off, Queen.
I like to let the case sit for a second to cool off before because it gets really hot. So I like to let it sit for a while.
A
How long
second
is a
or a
second?
year.
Yeah. The second can take a little bit longer depending on where you're at. And so you let it sit. And then I like to sometimes I'll bring out like a sledgehammer to try to like get the stuff out. And then if things get real bad, I might go to like Home Depot and rent like a little jackhammer to try to
Okay.
just get it out of there.
Dude,
Yeah.
don't be ridiculous. You use a pneumatic air hammer.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. And then if all else fails, I'll just put a couple of some black cats in there and just see what those do.
Okay.
Fine.
This is getting out of control. I wanted to run back on the silicone spray here for a second. The way I do it, I just spray a little bit on the threads and then push it in with a paper towel, spin the case around a little bit, do it on the closures. And dude, it's like you never flew it before.
Yeah,
It's so
Yeah.
smooth
It's so
and
nice.
beautiful.
I
Doesn't
do it
make
on
any
all
terrible
of it.
noises. I do it on
Even the
brand new
outside.
cases now. Oh, you want to touch it and be sticky? That's fun. Roy Tyson says,
What?
Hops
It's not
gun bore
sticky.
cleaner. It was greasy silicone spray.
Not what I have.
What? Okay, we're gonna move on. This is getting out of control. Garage Man
It's
Cave says,
not.
"Is the O25,000 still available?" No.
Well?
Noah Lenahan says AMW has an O25,000 in stock. Have you seen what Robert is asking for that motor?
Yep.
You remember how much they were? They were like $1,200,
Yeah.
Wait, how much is he
crazy.
asking? I haven't seen that.
like 8,300.
Yeah.
7,200.
I respect it though. It's the well, if you want it, you're paying.
Well,
this
supply and
price.
demand,
Yeah.
right? I wish
he
I.
wants to fly it.
It's too bad I didn't make very much money when those were. I'm not saying I make a lot of money now, but I
Okay.
have enough I could make a bad decision and buy a $1,200 O25,000. When they were available, I could not. That's what I was
Yeah.
trying to say.
I think I might have skipped the O25,000 the fact that the P motors were 1,600.
Good God.
That was insane. They were just cruise missile boosters. Ben there done that says, "What's good, fellas?" The Rocket Child says, "Hey guys, yeah, what's up, everybody? This is a live podcast recording, and I'm reading from the chat. I don't give an S, right, Matt?
Whoa. I thought it would be
Okay.
F, but S works, I guess.
Wait, David Billius says, I super lube the outside of the motor liner and it leaves no residue on the case, but the inside of my cases have super lube all over the inside of them. I do wipe off and reapply lube to the threads.
It sounds
Does
like
he-
you've never had it burn through.
Does that mean he just leaves the grease on the inside of the case?
I think so.
It's kind of, I mean,
Maybe that's the play.
it's funny,
Could be.
but also maybe the secret.
Dude, yeah, because if he doesn't have any residue on the inside of the case, because I've greased the S and P out of some liners and they still
Yeah.
those leaky Aerotech
It's funny.
motors.
I go through periods, or I'll go through a period where I like grease the cases, and then I have a really bad experience, and then I go, no grease, it's easier. And then I'll have an experience where it's absolutely aft. I'm like, we're greasing them again.
Yeah, dude, I
that
do the
that
same
happened
thing.
recently. I glued one into the case, and I was like, we're going back to the grease.
Okay, we gotta move on. Bayou Rat, Aerospace and Rocketry says blue masking tape versus green masking tape. I pushed blue past Mach 2.2. Wait, what? Like on a rocket and it didn't come off? That sounds
Well, green is better, except
it is.
if actually blue really doesn't have a place in rockets. I said it, except if you're actually painting. If you're painting, then blue's
No, I was
probably
gonna
one
say
of
the
the.
exact opposite. Blue's great for
Wow.
like twisting everything together, but the green's
Yeah.
better for the paint.
Yeah.
So those crisp frog tape
No.
lines.
Yeah.
Well, no.
You're
I'm
out
not
of
talking.
line.
I'm not talking frog tape. I'm talking the green 3M, the extra sticky stuff.
What are you using that for?
Yeah.
General purpose.
I was gonna say,
Holding
don't you dare
igniters
say
in.
taping wires to rockets because you don't even do that.
I have done it.
Yeah, dude, I just outed you to the whole world.
I have done it.
Taylor doesn't twist and tape. He doesn't twist and tuck. He twists and walks away.
I twist and organize. No, I still put a piece of tape on there a lot of the times. It just not.
I
all
like
the
to
time.
go with electrical tape just because I'm anticipating it will come off no matter what. Postart, did your camera die or do you just think something's really hilarious?
He just quit moving up there.
Oh, he's
dang.
gone.
That is tough.
All right, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah,
Did you hear an
I'll work
explosion
on
of
that.
some variety, Postart?
There's someone running something outside that's making a lot of
But
sounds.
blue
We'll do it
masking tape
live.
doesn't stick to anything. That's the problem.
Well, Joe Barnard would argue with on that. Have you seen his machining videos where he
Well,
uses
that's
it
true,
instead of
yeah.
clamps?
You guys don't have
Um,
humidity though.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I don't know. I like the blue masking tape just for general use, like fillets and all that. The green masking tape I like for painting. But I don't.
guess I'm talking about on the field.
Yeah, I'm fine with having blue or any. I guess the extra sticky stuff I could see being beneficial, but I'm
There's, like,
kind of on that
Argonia
aluminum
in
tape
the summer.
these days.
The blue, it just doesn't, like, I when in my younger years there was lots of us trying it and just like you get to the launch pad and it just doesn't stick to your motor.
Dude, aluminum tape. It sticks to everything all the time.
Yeah, I do love some aluminum tape.
That's my recommendation for that. But for painting, green, for like fillets and stuff, blue. I would say whatever's cheapest, but if you use like regular masking tape, I've had that rip a lot and like absorb epoxy. Nightmare fuel. Let's move on. Bayou Rat Aerospace Rocketry once again. Friction fitting. What not to do. If you can
use green tape.
yeah. I was gonna say if you can like just slide the motor back out, you've done something wrong because it should be a rough time to get that motor case back out if you want it to be properly friction fitted. Second, yeah, don't use green tape.
Actually, I still am a kind of a believer, but don't wait until everything cools off. That's really the secret.
Take the motor case out when it's hot.
It would have came out, I believe, if we hadn't let it cool.
Yeah, and I mean, your mileage may vary because we used green tape as well, and it cooled down in my Big Daddy, but I think we've told the story before needing to come along to get the 6 grain 98 case out of my V2. That is what happened. So, yeah. So just be mindful of the fact that you could like sort of superheat your, I'm listening to the noise outside. It's getting crazy out there.
What does it sound
fine.
like?
It's
I don't
like
know, it sounds like
it's
someone's
something
dropping plywood.
backfiring.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because I can hear it running.
Maybe it's just guns. Anyway, just bear in mind that your adhesive can get really hot and then the tape can bundle up and then you'll need a 3-ton come along to get your rocket taken apart. Doug says LDRS is coming up. If you're flying to California, how do you pack and what do you bring? Well, I live 3 hours away, so I'm disqualified from this one, I think.
Wait, say what? What was it?
He says, if you're flying to California, how do you pack and what do you bring?
Like within regards to rockets, or like what should you
I assume
bring
so.
for clothes?
For LDRS. Well, I assume rocket stuff.
Oh,
Don't
okay.
bring black powder. That will get you not
get rid
allowed
of
on
all
the
the
plane.
Bernie things. And
if you're bringing a rocket that's flown before, really clean it out, because apparently there's been incidents in the past where a little black powder residue was detectable. And well, I've really only heard that about USPS. Actually, I've never heard about TSA. But when I flew with the electronics bay and nose cone from the V2,
I think it's always a good idea to like have a rocket magazine or something, just to like to that way you can show kind of what you're doing, and instead of just like, no, it's a toy, I promise.
I think I am getting no camera back, unfortunately.
Why? What happened?
It switched cameras weirdly on its own, and now won't let me change to what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, because we're live.
Riverside.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, if we pay for the ultra expensive, like $8,000 a year one, I can change it manually from my end. But okay, well, Shane's gone dark for this episode, unfortunately. Yeah. Wait, I think if you leave and then come back, you can rejoin while we're recording, and the camera should be back.
All right. I mean, it'll make another track, but
yeah, that's fine. It just starts breaking again, doesn't let you in. It'd be sick. Okay, we're moving on. Don't take anything you're not supposed to have on a plane. If you have a rocket, make sure it's clean, and make sure you have. I just dunked the whole V2's nose cone in water and rinsed it with dish soap because it's fiberglass, and then I cleaned everything with rubbing alcohol after that, and then I wrote them a note. I was like, I know this looks bad because like there's wires hanging out of it and stuff, and it's very pointy, but I promise you, it's just I'm a grown man playing with rocket toys. Okay.
The easiest way to do it is to just bring your rocket and like parachute, like, and motor case or whatever, and then you buy the buy the consumables there, and then hopefully you have a friend you can hang out at their camp and use a bunch of their stuff.
Yeah, and then if you're like Taylor, you can complain about how disorganized everything is the whole time. Oh, do you have this weird hyper-specific thing? This slightly bent tiny flathead screwdriver that I use for taking O-rings off of stuff? What, you don't have one? What kind of rocket guy are you? We're moving on. Liam, how fast or hard, as in G-forces, can you push cardboard and plywood? I mean, that pretty heavily depends on the diameter and width of the plywood and cardboard. Because, like, you can very easily fly a cardboard rocket supersonic if it's small enough. Like a 2-inch rocket with some 1/4-inch plywood fins and a good bevel, Mach 1, no problem. 38s, Mach 1, no problem. Right?
54s, go Mach 1.
This guy. It's like he's not even listening.
Oh, did you say 54s?
Oh, I said 2-inch, but...
Oh. I heard 38.
Yeah, the biggest thing you should be worried about is folding couplers in half with cardboard generally. And if you're trying to go really fast and really high, break out the composites.
Oh, there was that guy that flew remember that guy that flew the M650 on a with lock components? Minimum diameter.
The minimum diameter one? Yeah.
Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah. It is sick if you can do it, but like you're putting it on the line.
Yeah.
I wouldn't advise trying it for the benefit of it being cheaper, is what I'm getting at there. Rod Thomas says, I know there may be exceptions to the rule, but generally speaking, at what motor power level do you need to switch from cardboard to fiberglass body tubes? There isn't one.
It's more of a flight profile thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bryce's 24-inch rocket was cardboard, and he flew, I mean, for all intents and purposes, a 99.99% O motor. You really want to base that decision on speed and performance, which lines up pretty well with the last topic.
If you want to put the biggest motor that will fit in a rocket, kit right out of the box, then unglassed cardboard usually isn't gonna like that.
Right. Postart or Matt, any input here?
No.
Just don't sand it too much, and get all the.
I
The
think most
bits.
people are having that problem, like you, Matt.
Okay, that's good.
No, I think
I
it's
just want to
alluding
make that
to
clear.
you.
Although, to be fair, that was like one of Matt's very first rockets he ever
Yeah.
built.
Don't sand into the weave in your hand rolled tube. Full gem
Yeah,
685
who would
rocket
do
up.
that? That would be so dumb.
You'd have to be a dummy to do that one.
Oh.
Okay. Rod Thomas is back again. What are the best big launch events on the East Coast? I don't really know if any of us are
Ooh.
qualified to answer this.
I feel obligated to say Red Glare.
Yeah, that's the thing though, is somebody was messaging me from Red Glare, and apparently like
Does it
I
suck
don't know
now?
the full story, so this is all just what I remember from being told
Unconfirmed
offhand.
It's
reports.
hearsay. It's
Yeah,
hearsay.
unconfirmed reports that the adjacent landowners to the Higgs farm don't like rocket people, don't like rockets on
Ooh.
their property.
I mean, I get that. Rocket people can be kind of annoying.
Well, okay, so apparently there's like a maximum altitude for motor deploy. If you're flying over that with dual deploy, you have to use like GPS drift cast
Oh,
to prove that
yeah, I saw
in theory
people
on
using the
that
drift
day,
cast.
yeah, that your rocket won't land on that property. So as much as I love old school MDRA and like Red Glare when we went was amazing, I feel like that's not, if you got to travel a long distance, it's probably not very worth it at this point. I mean, there's still a bunch of really cool people out there, but it's sort of a tough situation. I mean, a lot of people running this, but Jonathan Gabery replied, URG, honestly, a great launch site. A little bit tight with the trees, but that's just like, for the East Coast, that might as well be Black Rock with how much room they have out there. Plus, the echo at that launch site when a
Yeah,
big motor flies coming off all the trees.
That's the thing I
Nasty.
miss most about when I used to fly at like Missouri fields is like the didn't even have to be a big motor, and it would just be like crazy echo.
Dude, you could have experienced it in all its glory, but you didn't come to LDRS.
Yeah,
Metra, MDRA,
that's okay.
CRMRC, Tripoli Cherryfield. I'm sure I'm missing some of these are the major ones, says Jonathan. Thanks, Jonathan, for stepping in on that one. Yeah, dude, it was awesome. Tom Cohen flying the White Thunders and VMAXs 10 feet off the ground and just echo all through the hollows. Jonathan Gabery says, opinions on the new Aerotech N3000 Propellant X.
It looks like a good booster motor, if I had to
Looks
say.
pretty sick.
Also looks expensive as F.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, it's a single use 75, correct?
Yeah.
And
Dude,
it's like
That's
10
really
to 40
long.
length. Yeah.
Yeah.
you have to think its development has something to do with the Aerotech Space Challenge, right?
Yeah.
It
And
was
I hate-
mentioned in the post, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
kind
I
of
read it.
saying like this is maybe even a better option. They're selling it like an option of it with like a nozzle burst disc and head and igniter.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. That's why I was going
Yeah.
to say not booster motor, but sustainer. But my issue with that is if they're like so clearly, like obviously burst disc HEI, that's high altitude, high performance stuff. Wait, does the flight not have to qualify? Like, could it be research flight? Because there's no way they're certifying it with those, right? It'd be sick if they did.
They said I think they said they're doing 2 versions.
Really? Because I remember they
Jeez.
have head end ignition closures for Aerotech cases, but you cannot use them certified right now. So I wasn't sure if there was some big stepping stone that was an issue there. But it sounds like maybe they avoided it. Anyway.
Well, but isn't there a loophole where it can be under a manufacturer's recommendation if it doesn't affect the
Yeah.
performance of the motor?
I don't know. Wouldn't that count if you use their closures? Or does it have to be done at the time of certifying? And they would have to recert every
Well,
motor.
if you're using their closure, not a homemade one, I think if it's under manufacturer recommendation, I think it's okay. It's like when they said you can drill the delays following this.
Well, that's what I'm
method.
saying though. RCS makes head end
I
ignition
know.
closures
That's what
for
I'm saying. I
RMS
think
cases.
it's okay if you use the really expensive like RCS ones.
Carl told me it's not at NSL
Really?
last year.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
Well, but they haven't made a recommendation for
oh
it.
my God, here we go. Can I get a word in edgewise, dude? Rant mode's coming. I wish
Uh-oh.
it didn't have the integrated thrust ring because it's wound under the cases now.
Yeah.
That kind of unwound the whole concept of using it as a minimum diameter booster, unless you grind the case down.
You mean as a sustainer? It would be perfect as a booster.
Yeah.
Now, it's really long, but at the short burn time and high impulse would make a good booster motor. But we're looking at a very long rocket at that point. I would much rather I'd rather have the Redline 7680.
Are you going to do an N3000 to the N2700? Is that what it is? The 75 10
Yeah.
That's the Space Shot project? I don't think that would go high enough. It'd be so long. It'd be goofy.
Yeah.
Dude, what if we did the N3000 propellant X and then the N burner?
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking.
Just tiny stubby little dart.
Or even if you just did a K375. Stage it at an absurd altitude.
That would be crazy. Long story short, it looks sick but expensive. Matt, thoughts?
I think he's going to buy one.
I forgot. I was thinking about it, yeah.
You might even get a couple.
Wow.
Might as well.
Gonna have to sell a Subaru.
Oh. We'll skip to the chat here real quick. Kyle Meyer says, how would you rate NSL and Alamosa? Will you guys be going? Also, I think it would be a nice podcast. I need to do a launch site tier list. Just talk about various big launches that are attend worthy. I think the latter is a good idea. I think the tier list is a bad idea because it's kind of like people are like, oh, you should do electronics or you should do vendors. I'm like, well, no, because then we're going to be like, these vendors are F tier, dude. I would never buy anything. You shouldn't either. I don't think that's the right move. NSL was great last year. Extremely high waiver, a lot of cool rockets, extremely high altitude, so you get to use that waiver a little more effectively. Dude, the LDRS starting altitude this year is like 182 feet. It's nothing. Basically sea level. So in juxtaposition to that, NSL's what, 7,000? Is that what it was? Something crazy.
It's 70... 7,200 or something.
If you flew my N motor rocket that went 47,000 feet of balls last year, it was simming like almost to 60 in that configuration. It was simming basically to 50 without cutting 2 feet off of it. It was crazy. So, definitely recommend that. But yeah, an episode on big launches that are fun to attend would be cool. I think someone actually recommended that as well. That might be actually in this topic list, so maybe we'll revisit that here shortly. But yeah, NSL, good. Other thoughts, Shane? Nigel's dad,
It's
you were
sick. It's fun. It's a good time.
I had a really good time. I think they're experiencing some of the growing pains of a growing launch, but I expect they are working on it and gonna do better this year than they did last year, and so on. Hopefully, they continue to do a regional launch after the NSL West thing ends.
Yeah,
I assume they will.
I mean, they've got so much infrastructure for doing it now. I would imagine they would. Roy Tyson says, tying knots in Kevlar. Some say it makes a weak point. Others say they've been doing it forever.
Well, I've been doing it forever.
I was going to say and should be there. Some say it makes a weak point, but others say they've been doing it forever. Because I also have been doing it forever.
I think that's one of those things where it's like, on paper, it makes it weaker, but like,
and then what's the alternative? You're trusting somebody.
The shock cords I've had fail weren't at the knot, so
yeah. And the alternative is trusting somebody else's sewing with a Kevlar thread that, in theory, has less break strength than the shock cord, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how like the compounding of the stitches works in theory, but long story short, either way, if you have enough opening force to break the shock cord at the knot, or break the shock cord in general, or break a sewn loop out of the Kevlar, something else already went very wrong. You've effed up, because dude, I've had some pretty violent situations with Kevlar with loops tied in it, and I'm not like trying to put down anybody that sells sewn lubes. They're great and they're super convenient. My point is, I don't think it's like on a technical or theoretical level necessarily going to be that big of a difference.
Yeah, it is neat. If some people are really into neatness,
it looks really refined. And I've used them. Like I've used the One Bad Hawk harnesses. They're great, but I just like tying knots and stuff and wrapping tape around it.
Me too.
Matt, what's your take here?
I do like the PML instruction sheet told me to 20 years ago. Anyway, sorry.
That's actually, I think, up here as well. Dylan Bitter says knots, what kind you use, when you use them, and why, which we can roll into next. But Matt, I think you could be a sewn loop guy. I just project everything that like people who are more recently into rocketry onto Matt.
Yeah,
like you might like these enticing things that Taylor and I are too hard headed to steer into.
I can't think of what, but there was some modern thing that Matt like latched onto, and was it switches? I don't remember.
Yeah, no, it's definitely switches, right?
Big switch guy.
The rotaries. Oh no, it was the screw switch.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then Braden
my dad was
well,
excited about those too, and then he had to take his level 3 flight off the launch pad because he's unthreaded it all the way.
And you had the terminal post connectors.
Yeah,
which you were really into until they came loose.
Yeah.
Yes. Dougie Dallas says it does make a weak point. Ask any mountaineer scaffold. But we're not arguing that it makes a weak point. We're arguing that the weak point is a moot point. Because if you get to the point where you're breaking that slightly weaker point in the 8,000 pound Kevlar, then you've already made a mistake. 3-fin versus 4-fin rockets. Like in terms of high performance stuff, 4-fin is objectively better because of its resistance to wind shear. But 3 fins, if you get it nice and straight and you have a nice calm day, will go higher.
Also, pretty aesthetically pleasing in some cases. Kind of depends on your fin shape.
Like an Air X Delamar, for example. Beautiful with 3 fins.
Punisher? Couldn't.
Punisher.
You ever seen a 4-fin Punisher? Garbage.
But like demons?
4-fin Demon.
4-fin Demon. Yes.
Iced out.
Could you imagine
really,
the Arcus with 3 fins?
Ew.
No.
Stop talking.
Gross.
Get out of here.
3-fin Nike smoke? No thanks.
Disgusting.
Ew. Yeah, that's foul. I wanted to step back over here to the chat real quick. Mr. Bombastic 1423 says we did an episode on launch sites, episode 33. I remember that we talked Bong a little bit.
Well, but everyone knows.
Yeah, but even people at Bong know it. You just have to be built different to fly.
Yeah, but they live like if I lived 30 minutes from Bong, I would go there and enjoy it, but also know that it sucks.
I was talking to Manny about that, and he was like, yeah, like it was just like my normal day of rocketry when I was a kid. There was I'd fly like my Wildman Jr. on a G motor, and then 6 hours later I would come back and having found it, and then I would go home. I'm like, cool, that sounds really fun.
He lives so close.
Yeah, he does. There was one earlier I wanted to read here, but I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, LDRS location predictions for the next 5 years. I mean, I don't know if we can really do predictions. I feel like it's safe to assume maybe. Well, I don't know. I would love for there to be another Argonia one. Well, we can wish. I'm not going to make any official predictions.
But we were kind of hinted at what it would be next year, so I don't know if we should say that.
I wasn't even going to say that, but now that you have, I guess there's nothing we can do about it because we're live. Anyway, I want another one. Want another one in Argonia. Want another one at Bonneville Salt Flats will probably never happen.
Yeah. That's what wishing through the genie. That's what I want, but it's pretty much not going to happen. No, really, I don't want it in Argonia. If I'm being honest,
Why is that?
Why?
Gatekeeping?
Airfest
There's too many of these newfangled rocketeers showing up at my rocket line.
Because every time it ends up in Argonia, like in recent times, like the reason it ends up at Argonia is because no one else put a bid in, and they're trying to just make sure we have an LDRS. But like, Airfest is already like basically LDRS, but LDRS at Argonia is during Airfest time, and it just like is a lot of extra. It brings out the worst in people, I guess, is the easiest way to say it.
Okay.
What about
Fine.
Vegas?
If somebody else was going to provide infrastructure for Gene again, then yes. Like they did, Rock brought all the pads.
Yeah.
I don't think that Tripoli Vegas is equipped to handle an LDRS on their own.
That's
Also,
fair.
3,800 foot waiver. It would be
Yeah.
constantly needing called in.
Yeah, that's true.
Is it 3,800 feet? I don't remember. It's low. Like
Man,
the
it's
standing
too
waiver, well,
bad.
they still have Collins like 17, but the standing waiver is just idly very low.
There's not a joint Tripoli club at Alamosa, right?
I don't think so.
Because
Oh,
that
maybe
would
there
be.
is. I don't know.
I think it's just NAR, but maybe
got no
there's
idea.
an overlap. I don't know, but that would be a good one. Also,
That would be.
I'd like to see Tripoli, North Texas host.
Yeah, same. Yeah, that would be really good. I wouldn't mind another New York one because, first of all, Peñan's sick. It was a fun city to just walk around, look at the pan they made the world's largest pancake in. It was a good time. And the launch site's really cool. Okay, let's see. Josh, booking camp, the process to obtain a level 3 certification behind the scenes. That one probably a little long-winded for the lightning round. Maybe we can touch on that later. He's just asking about finding tabs, getting tab approval, documentation requirements. I don't know how we can.
That's going to cause me to have a rant.
Yeah, we'll let Taylor rant on that one another one. Jeff Curtis says, I've got a couple of motors that are 29 years old. Is there anything I can do to improve the odds of them lighting and burning successfully? Yeah, sand the cores. If they're green, wear a respirator. I mean, wear a respirator anyway. I did when I sanded my K12, especially if they're green. Wear a respirator, a good one, because that's barium nitrate. Wear gloves. But roughing the cores up and using something hot to ignite with Taylor's theory. Go ahead with I'll handle it. Then the Blue Thunder is Taylor's theory is that lighting AP with AP works the best. And his K1275 didn't chuff. And
well, it's gonna.
Yes, mine killed my rocket, and Postart's almost killed his rocket. So,
it's just it burns hot and produces a lot of gas, which is kind of what the motor needs to start efficiently. So,
or you could use thermite, and if you want information on that, don't listen to our podcast episode on it because you won't get any. But yeah, and if the grains are bulging outside the casting tube ends, just trim those down, like trim it flush with the casting tube again,
or sand
but
it. If it's just a little bit.
If it's like really swollen and looks really oxidized, there is a point where it's just like not even worth it. But
and if you want to do motor eject and it's a really, really old motor, I would recommend getting a fresh delay grain for it. That's just going to improve your odds of everything working so much.
All right, here's a good one we can all answer. I know everybody wants to hear from Matt. Liam says, what is a launch event that you haven't been to that you would like to go to? For me, Tripoli, North Texas Shootout, and You're Nuts, the basically balls launch after balls.
Yeah.
I'd say, Tripoli, North Texas. I think the Houston South site looks cool.
Yeah. And Tripoli Houston's rad. Shout out Tripoli Club number 2, Tripoli Houston.
I'd like to try Express or XPRS, however I've heard different people say it, but the Black Rock launch before launch.
Before launch.
Just to feel the vibes. I've done the balls. I'd like to see what that's about. And I'd like to try your nuts too.
A little bit warmer.
What did I say?
Nothing. We'll just move on. It's a little bit warmer that week before. I've heard like pretty drastically warmer at night than at balls.
I want to go to, I don't remember the name of it, the one in Washington that's always the same weekend as Airfest. That's why I haven't gone to it. Thank you. Yeah. I want to go to that, but
then you'd be
like
missing Airfest.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if I'm down with that.
Braden's old Idaho range videos look like there's lots of space. Let me tell you, most of the people at Tripoli, Idaho don't want to run a Tripoli, Idaho launch, so there's no shot they would run LDRS. Nobody's signing up for that, Tripoli, Idaho. Been there, done that. We'll skip to him real quick. Says, I'm looking at Into the Journey 75 as my first high power rocket. What motor casing should I get first? the 3870 or 38720 and 360 starter set with the RAS. Perfect. Level 1, level 2, you can fly H's through J's with that setup, and it's like, I don't know. I'm not even going to say a number. But Matt and Shane, what are your dream launch sites? Launches.
Shane kind of covered some, right?
Yeah, I said Sod Blasters.
Well, I wasn't sure if you had more, but
I want to go to Tripoli Phoenix. I don't know about events
Yeah,
there,
me
but
too,
I want to
actually.
go there. Seems like a
we're
cool
pretty
place.
close. We should just go.
Yeah,
let's
we
go
should.
next winter, though. I think I'm past
Yeah.
my let's go to Phoenix time
Yeah.
frame. Matthew
turn?
August Myers from Olathe, Kansas.
That's me. I would like to go to. I like to try some balls, and I think it'd be cool. I would like to see. I think any kind of a desert launch site would be neat, and I think Red Glare would be good too. I'd like to see that as well. Anything new? I'm really excited for LDRS. And
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
so-
Matt. You got to travel
Yeah.
with us more.
Yeah. I'm working on it.
Hold on.
I think Midwest Power unlocked something in it.
Yeah, it did.
like
That
an
was pretty
adventure.
awesome. I love the difference in the vibe. At that
Someone
launch site.
said could always visit us in Hawaii. Is there an active Tripoli club in Hawaii? Because I thought it was just like a private thing.
Yeah, we actually were talking about. We've talked about this a bunch.
Yeah. And also, which island is it on?
Let us know in the comments. We'll move on. Ted Wong says launches where everything went right and launches where everything went wrong. That's so open ended. I think that could go on forever as well.
That's like an
Yeah.
hour long. That's
Maybe we'll add that to. Oh, dude, that would actually be fun. Like our best and worst rocket launch experiences.
yeah.
Like
I
we'll pick one
definitely
launch
have
where.
some- Yeah, some examples.
Okay, well, hang on to that one. Rod Thomas says, I really like your coverage of the big rocket launch events. Could you guys compile a list of the names and locations of the big U.S. events you've attended that are ongoing? Well, yeah, Airfest, obviously, Argonia, Kansas. Cloudburst, Argonia, Kansas. That we've attended that are ongoing. LDRS moves every year. Balls,
Midwest
Black
Power.
Rock Desert. Yeah, Midwest Power is in Princeton, Illinois. MDRA has Red Glare. Twice. They do a spring and fall Red Glare. What am I missing here? Rockstock. Rocket
Yeah.
Organization of California, Lucerne Dry Lake Bed.
Springfest,
Derriere.
Tripoli, Vegas.
I mean, I haven't been to
Oh,
Derriere, but
Well, then don't say it, trailer.
well, we're getting ready to go to LDRS version of Derriere.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I think that's pretty much it. Oktoberfest, Tripoli Vegas as well.
Yeah.
That keeps lining up with Fall Rockstock keeps lining up with Midwest Power now because Midwest Power got moved.
Oh yeah, that I guess. Are we going to Midwest Power this year?
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
obviously.
But I need to have a discussion with Matt.
I mean, yeah, obviously. Wait.
Oh, is it rally related?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, but I have a solution.
Cool.
All right. Is it a
We bring the
washing
rally car
solution?
to Midwest Power.
Oh, you bring it to
No.
far.
Dang.
Shred the road.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we could take
Liam
the rally
says-
car to Midwest Power, but that would be wildly inefficient.
And probably just suck.
Yeah,
Imagine it
it
starts
would be-
raining.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. There's no, or the defrost sucks.
Liam says, what's the punishment for breaking the waiver? I actually don't know, and I don't care to find out.
Yeah.
I've heard
Fines.
like
Depends-
up to fines like 50 grand or something like
Yeah.
that.
Well, if it's no, well, I don't want to say anything definitive, but
Yeah.
so I've heard if you are like if they find out that you broke the waiver and then find out that basically you knew that there was a chance of that, then you're gonna get kicked out of Tripoli, and
Right.
probably a fine and probably a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, that, I mean, it's safe to assume that any launch site you intentionally break the waiver or have a chance and then it does, you're probably not going to be welcome back. As far as FAA stuff, I don't actually know. But what you are doing is probably jeopardizing whether or not that launch site could have a waiver again. So
Don't do it.
ill-advised. Don't push it. Ted Wong, this is going to be a fun one. Are there any rocket superstitions?
I feel like there
Talk
are.
about the PML tubes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
On the PML phenolic, the triangles on the logo need to point up.
Or what? Your Honest John doesn't fly perfectly first try?
No, sometimes it's the second try.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I've heard.
Why'd the tube crack on the Punisher then? Those are facing the right way.
Well, that just happens. You'll get that.
One more recently is that you shouldn't paint the aluminum tips on Wild Man nose cones.
Why?
Because it's bad juju, apparently. That's why the guy that was posting it, I think he thought I was being like super serious, and I was like mad about it. I wasn't. He was just like jabbing, so I was jabbing black. Jabbing back. And he was like, it's bad juju. I think he said bad things happening, and I posted a picture of the 12-inch Punisher flying. I was like, this was a pretty good thing. And he's like, well, if I recall, you had an issue with the tube, which I think is the triangles thing. It's like self-reversing, okay, because you took it too seriously. And it was like, you know what, you're punished now. It wasn't the aluminum tip.
Well, it is a Punisher.
Yeah, we had to be punished, I guess.
Oh, wow.
Matt, rocketry superstitions?
I mean, I was going to say the PML one because that's the only thing I could think of. But I think what came to mind was something about swivels, but I think that's just more of a paranoia.
That's a Braden thing.
A Braden.
It's not even anymore. Oh my God.
He's over it. He's over it.
There's a whole tray of swivels on my desk constantly in case I need to swiv.
Yeah, notice how they're not in rockets though?
Yeah.
Have you built a rocket in a year,
Postart?
like,
you're just like pulling on them like, oh, is it going to pull apart?
Dude, I think that was the funniest thing about like after we met and I saw you flying rockets. It's just the overhand knot of the sky angle.
Oh, that's not. No, I put the parachute through its own to get it on the shot cord, and then I put the knot in the shot cord to keep it there. I wasn't tying the parachute to it.
Oh, I thought you were just straight up tying it on there.
Oh, no.
I'm like, that's crazy.
And then the classic one is if you make a rocket too pretty, you're destined to never see it.
Yeah.
Which I feel like I've proven is untrue repeatedly.
Well, this is one I like the earn your paint thing.
Yeah, I don't like that S.
Yeah, I don't either.
90% of build advice on TRF is superstitious, including mine. That is kind of true. Don't say one more flight. Yeah, that's good. Stickers make the rocket go faster. FAA cannot tell you how high you went. Rockets don't have transponders to tell them. They can see it, just not how high it went. Well, yeah, but say if somebody posted a YouTube video and then the FAA found out about it, the FAA can't find out that you're like swooping runways in your J3 Cub either, but someone just lost their license for something like that because they posted a YouTube video of it. There is ways for someone could be like completely oblivious to the fact that there could be an FAA punishment and make a video and just be like, oh, I accidentally broke the FAA waiver. And then we've got problems. Yeah, the earn your paint thing is dumb, but I really feel like the Bobs is a good example of making a rocket super pretty, and it was okay. My 5-inch Punisher, I spent a ton of money on the color flip paint job, and it's pretty beat up, but it's okay. I don't know. My 3-inch minimum diameter rocket was pretty cool with the glitter paint too. I knew it was going to get destroyed, like not the rocket, but the paint got destroyed. But I feel like the thought is that the effort is what will cause it to never come back.
You can tell it was once pretty. That's what I like to say.
Like your 3-inch Punisher?
Yeah, it looks rough.
That thing looks rough.
I've been thinking about repainting it, but there's this is sort of a superstition. There's a thought of if I repaint it, is that going to bring some bad energy to it? Is it just meant to be worn?
No, it's all S. Paint the nose cone tip 30 times.
Trying to give my rocket a second life, and it goes, nope, its life is done.
Kill me now. Kill me now.
No way, dude. Because mine was still its original paint, and it got destroyed. What if I told you that the paint job has zero effect on whether the rocket's flight goes well? What if I told you that? What would you think of that?
Where's your data on that? Where are your resources?
No, I think I mean, I agree. I think I'm at a point where I'm like, I'm like, there's too many flights on this rocket. What am I going to do really stupid to mess this up now?
Speaking of which, actually, Zero G Prince, I don't know if this is so much superstitious, but in quotes, he says it's probably fine. I don't know if that's so much superstitious as more so if you find yourself saying that it's probably because it's not fine, actually.
We always
and you
say
let
that.
it ride. Like your Kevlar shock guard on.
Well, that was the best example because we had a whole conversation about it.
We're like, no, come on, it's 800 pounds.
Or your M3700. It's gonna work.
Yeah.
Those are the two examples of like when I really felt like for whatever reason there was going to be a problem, and there was. So
one was a bomb and one broke the shock cord.
Now a good example of when I
Punisher, Braden.
A good example of thinking that and been proven wrong was the 2-stage. Now I know the sustainer wasn't recovered, but that was really the least of what I thought was going to go wrong.
Oh, you mean it's probably fine for my altimeter that wasn't work. Yeah, you're right. For some reason I thought you were for some reason talking about my level 3 flight. I don't know why that came to mind, but okay, let's move on. That's a fun one actually. If you have more rocketry superstitions, no paint / bad paint equals rocket has a higher chance of coming home. Yeah, that's S. It's both B and S, okay? If you have more superstitions, though, let us know because those are kind of fun. Liam says, "What's the most insane flight at balls you ever seen?" Are we talking about ones that worked or no? Dude, Ken Overton's P2P Cato to Cato was pretty nuts.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
The 2-stage
crazy ass
with the sustainer coming in ballistic and then lighting on impact.
Like 100 feet behind the flight line.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a cool one.
That was nightmare fuel too because it's such a big rocket that you could hear it coming in ballistic for uncomfortably long.
Yeah.
So
too
much
long.
before you could see it. Yeah. And we're just like, oh my God, where is it? And it just kept getting louder and louder. So we're like, it's close.
It's right over us because we can't see it. That's always what that means.
Terrifying.
Yeah, dude, and it's like, what's the best option under that? You go lay under a car? Or do you stand like pencil thin?
Yeah.
Just make your vertical surface area the least accessible.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
You like suck in.
Like, it's coming in ballistic.
I mean, realistically, that probably is like, I guess the best thing you could do, but it doesn't help your brain any.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Maybe what if the best option is like run? You know, just if you're moving a bunch.
Just start like serpentine, like someone's gonna point a gun at you.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I'm supposed to.
That doesn't really help though, right? Because you don't know exactly where it's at.
Yeah, I mean the chances of it even hitting you are so unbelievably low, and that's one of those situations too, like with the whole FAR thing with the bunkers. Like, I'm sorry, but your 4-inch thick concrete steel covered bunker ain't stopping 150-pound 6-inch rocket coming in ballistic.
Yeah.
No, not a single chance. But okay, we'll move on. Liam says, at balls there's a K impulse limit. Is that for only the first stage? For example, can I fly a rocket? If I fly a rocket flying on a K motor first stage, staging to an I motor, are there any other launches that have rules like this? Not maximum impulse, but minimum. I think even at balls you can do cert flights under K, but the closing pads are 500 feet. So, and I mean, technically a lot of the hamster dance motors are well under K impulse as well, but I believe it's just commercial, right? It used to be L, I think. Commercial L was the minimum.
It's been K for a while, but yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, yeah, if you're doing a cert flight, I'm pretty sure they're cool with it. But if you were doing a 2-stage K to I, that's also fine. Okay, people, we're running. This is our last one. After the safest place would be at the pad. No way lawn darts right back where it started.
That's fair.
Yeah, he might be on something. Jump out of the way like Bugs Bunny. Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Throw us a quick conversation topic or question about rocketry in the live chat right now if you are watching, because this is our last one from Patreon. And then, if you're watching, actually, I'm going to throw the Discord link in. If you're not already a member of Discord, the Rocket Vlogs Discord is now public, and the podcast discussions happen over there. So join the Discord, and we're going to leave a thread up for more lightning round episodes. That way we can do more lightning round episodes. I think we need to do a Q&A episode here soon, too.
Yeah.
We haven't done one in a while. Last one is Liam asks, as a non-certified member of Tripoli, can I fly a cluster of with impulse equivalent to H, or do I need to have a mentor to fly that? The answer is no, you cannot. You have to have someone certified as total installed impulse is the basis of the rule. That's why, like, there used to be a video on YouTube of a dude flying like a 6-inch diameter rocket on like 8 G80s just in the park. Do you remember that, Taylor? The Monster Energy rocket. We've got a couple more actually. David Billius says, what is the best big launch name? Actual launch and location don't matter, just the name. I mean, Derriere is pretty horrible, but also pretty good at the same time. Spud Rock, dude. Tripoli, Idaho.
Yeah.
That's a classic. Vern Knowles used to fly a rocket that used an actual potato as a nose cone every year at Spud Rock.
What about Sod Blaster? What is it, Sod Blaster?
Sod Blaster, yeah, that's a pretty good one. Plaster City, California used to have Plaster Blaster as well.
Yeah.
Plaster Blaster
that was probably the best one.
The best, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Balls
Rip
is up there, but
Yeah.
And if you have like a local launch, let us know what the names are. How did you guys react to the ballistic 6-inch rocket? We all kind of just stared at each other like it was the end of the world.
Like,
we were just like, dude, what do we do?
Panicking, looking from one person to the other.
Yeah.
If this is it.
Wow, do you hear that? And David Billia says, what exactly is the hamster dance? The hamster dance is a contest at Balls. It's a altitude contest. The rocket has to, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it has to be under 5 pounds total, propellant included. The motor has to be made by you, and it cannot use composite parts, right? Or no metal parts. I think the motor case can be a composite, but the rocket itself can't be.
Yeah, no composites on the rocket.
But a good way around that is just, using a composite motor case and then not having any rocket other than a nose cone sitting on top of it, basically.
And then I think a K impulse limit.
Yeah. And from the past couple of years of seeing hamster dance in person, I feel like it's worth noting that a good way to win it sometimes is just to have a flight that functions.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Favorite parachute shape and why? Asked Colin Brum. Iris, elliptical, etc. I mean,
ice cream
I'm
cone.
a big Sky Angle fan. Yeah, ice cream cone.
SpongeBob's pretty
Kermit.
good. Yeah.
Dude, did you see the Amy doing the Kool-Aid Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. Dude, I still want a SpongeBob one so we can build a giant pineapple that he comes out of. It would be great.
I like the toroidal, like the iris.
Yeah, they're really nice, but
yeah.
But I like a good Sky Angle.
Yeah, I like the Sky Angle Classics a lot. The Recon parachutes as well.
Yeah.
If you can get a hold of them, the Rocket Man parachutes, but I don't know what the status of that is right now. I haven't bought a new Rocket Man parachute in like 6 years. I keep getting them from the Rocket Woman on eBay. Shout out. I believe Kai Michelson's ex-wife. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. We'll give it a second on the comments. We'll get one more in, and then that is it for the lightning round. But again, go join the Discord. The link I just put, and I'm going to put up a post for lightning round questions, and we'll bring it back around and do another one relatively soon. I also want to put one up for guests we could have on for suggestions for guests. Dude, I think Gerald would be fun. I think he'd be down. I really like to have Jim Jarvis on. Brahms double scoop. What 2 scoops are you getting? Wow, that's a good ender, honestly.
That's solid.
Okay, that's it. This is going to be the cutoff. Mr. Bombastic 1423 has the last question of the first lightning round bonus episode. Brahms double scoop. What 2 scoops are you getting? And I think Matt's got to go last because Matt's he's the Brahms king.
F. Too much pressure.
You're going to be the anchor.
I usually just get a shake. I don't know. They have a lot of flavors. if they have they gotta have some sort of peanut butter, right?
I think they have a chocolate peanut butter.
Yeah.
Probably do chocolate peanut butter, and I don't know, maybe 2 scoops of that. Although I do like a good cookies and cream or like a salted caramel.
Say, dude, mint chocolate chip for sure.
I
is
know.
One of mine.
I like mint chocolate chip. The problem is I can't mix mint and chocolate chip with peanut butter because that sounds gross.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would like to do, though.
Well, you don't have to eat them together.
I guess so. That's what I would do: mint chocolate chip and peanut butter chocolate chip.
I'm going
mint chocolate chip. Oh no, you go.
I'm going mint chocolate chip and cookies and cream.
I was gonna say that, or mint chocolate chip, and then maybe like a nice fruit one to follow it up, like strawberry or banana.
I'm not down with
shaking
fruit
his head in
ice
disgust.
cream, dude.
What the?
Get that healthy ass out of here.
Spoken completely out of turn. Matt has lost his mind.
Fruit? Are you serious?
Fruit?
Yeah.
Banana milkshakes are great, dude.
Yeah. Let me just throw a curveball.
You get bananas on your pancakes?
Oh, I forgot about that. Wow. Is it my turn?
Yeah. Finish us off, Matt.
All right. Peppermint chocolate chip. That's the holiday flavor. That's got to be pretty awesome. And then chocolate toffee.
Are you on the website?
Yeah,
cheater.
He takes prom seriously. We're all winging it. He's doing research.
Honestly, I haven't had just the ice cream there in a long time. Like I've had every time I go there, I get a shake, and it's always a chocolate shake. But yeah, I've been advised against having a lot of dairy just from the other fellow AGG members.
You don't listen. I don't know why you acting like you listen. Yeah,
it really the way you present things sometimes. It's just like we actually are just like the most abusive and manipulative people. Matt, stop eating dairy. We told you.
The part he's leaving out is him going to Brahms like 3 different times, and every time he's getting like, can I replace my fries with yogurt and then also get a medium chocolate shake, and then I'm gonna get ice cream afterward?
Get a snack.
Too much dairy.
Well, we can, dude. Maybe we should say it for the first time, because then when we get back to the hotel after a day of Locked Rockets walking around all day, Matt brings out the foot butt. Okay.
No.
Yeah,
it's canon now.
Yeah.
He's just blowing dairy farts all over.
Wow. Yeah.
And blending his foot smell in there.
Yeah.
Foot butt.
Well, I think me and Braden have the foot taken care of.
Yeah, we handle that pretty handily as well.
Yeah,
we get the Manscaped foot deodorant. One time Matt misread it and said foot destroyer, so that's what we call it now. But
I didn't realize that came from me.
Yeah, coffee in the room. Dude, we could do a whole episode on Matt-isms.
Oh, no.
A whole bullying Matt episode. We can talk about all the things he's done.
Oh,
we can talk about all the things he said.
That would be good. Just like call it an hour of bullying Matt.
Yeah, I'm sure that would go over great.
Matt bullying hour. Anyway, we'll workshop the name.
That's fun.
Thank you guys so much for being here. This was a fun live lightning round episode. Don't forget, go join the Rocket Vlogs Discord. I'll put the link in the description for when I re-upload this as well. Or you can join the Patreon. That's where the conversations happen as well. Free conversations on Patreon for the podcast topics. My name is Braden Carlson. You can find me right here on YouTube at Rocket Vlogs. You can follow me on Instagram at BigB1011. You have less than 10 days at the point that this is uploaded to buy yourself merch from rocketvlogs.com or hbrtools.com, where right now every dollar is one entry. Every dollar you spend on merchandise, I should specify, is one entry to win a Wildman Extreme Wildman with an Aeropack retainer and Kevlar shock cord and a $100 Wildman gift card. I just opened that up. Did you know the Extreme Wildman comes with like nylon shock cord and hardware and stuff?
Yeah, that's why I bought one to kit bash for my level 3. Because it was a really good deal. It just came with everything, and I got it on sale.
I didn't know that, but now I do, and now I'm giving it away after I took it all apart. And I was like, "Wow, this is neat." Somebody else is gonna win it, and also once all the orders are in, we're doing another drawing for a ComSpec PR100 receiver. So get some RDF tracking in your life. rocketvlogs.com or hprtools.com. No purchase necessary to enter. You can find full details for the contest rules regulations on both websites. How was that?
It was pretty good.
Decent.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. You're up, Taylor.
My name is Taylor. You can find me on YouTube at The Rocket Channel.
My name is Shane or Postart. You can find me on YouTube at Postart Propulsions, online at hprtools.com, where Braden just talked about all of that, or on Instagram at Shane Harris Photo.
And my name is Macho Matt, and you just heard another episode of the Anti-Gravity Group podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, well, I guess I don't need to do the outro, so...
no, you should do it.
Peace out, everybody. No, it's too late. It's too late.
Perfect. He did a good job.
All right, see ya.
We might just hear from Nigel the Rocket Cat. Load up the professional masterpiece, you can bet on that. A launch and a chat with them is guaranteed to be a blast. It's the Anti-Gravity Group podcast. Ooh.